Chapter 251, Who Else is Coming? 1. Medical team ill maintain his breathing and stop the bleeding. Prepare for emergency surgery immediately. As the referee on duty on the Longhu list, Ku Qingshan was very calm. He used his mind power to control Qi Sheng and placed him on the ground. Ku Qingshan jumped down from the referee's stand. In this short 1 to 2 seconds, blood had already gushed out of the wound on Qi Sheng's throat. It was caused by the blood flowing into his lungs. Blood was still gushing out like a fountain. Qi Sheng was already convulsing. That was caused by lack of oxygen. Ku Qingshan, who had quickly landed on the ground, immediately sent his mind power over. Ku Qingshan's mind power was like the most delicate surgical knife. He instantly stopped Qi Sheng's bleeding and even used his mind power to perform CPR on Qi Sheng. Almost at the same time, the 4 doctors who had been on standby pounced onto the Longhu arena. The tube, life scan, and breathing support were all completed in an extremely short period of time. However, Zhu Tui's attack was too ferocious. Not only did it cut across Qi Sheng's neck, but it also cut open a major artery. If not for Ku Qingshan's mind power, Qi Sheng would have died. Professor Ku, we need you to use your mind power to support us for 3 minutes and stanch the preliminary arterial bleeding. Then, we will transfer him to the medical center for emergency surgery, a doctor said. No problem, Ku Qingshan nodded. However, even so, the scene was extremely bloody. Due to the blood from his lungs earlier, blood would spurt out of Qi Sheng's respirator with every breath he took. The surroundings of the Longhu arena were completely silent. However, there was a silent pressure. Zhu Tui's previous 2 matches had been relatively mild. However, this battle was extremely bloody. It was also at this moment that Chai Zhao, Zhong Ziking, Kai Hongying, and the others below the stage became anxious. Zhu Tui, quick, there are still injured person here. Look over here, the 3 of them shouted in succession, attracting the attention of the other students. It was only then that the students who were watching the battle started to speak. At the last moment of the battle, Zhu Tui had also been injured by the self-destruction of the water puppet that Qi Sheng was controlling. He had been blown to the ground. However, Qi Sheng's injuries were too shocking. No one noticed Zhu Tui, who had fallen backward from the impact. At this moment, when they heard Chai Zhao's roar, one of the doctors around Qi Sheng immediately went to see Zhu Tui. However, before he could get close, Zhu Tui, who had fallen to the ground, extended a hand. I don't need it, I'm alright. Zhu Tui sat up with some difficulty. His upper body did not seem to be injured. However, Zhu Tui, who had sat up, pointed at Qi Sheng, whose fate was unknown, and started cursing. Damn it, Qi Sheng, FCAC your ancestors. You played the suicidal game with me, but in the end, you called Professor Ku over to save you. You actually played such a dirty trick on me. The students around the arena were stunned. The students watching the live broadcast were also stunned. There was such a thing. However, Zhu Tui did not seem to be injured. It was only then that Zhu Tui stood up with some difficulty. The moment he stood up, the students below the stage immediately gasped. Zhu Tui's upper body was intact because of the combat uniform. However, his lower body was covered in blood. The pants he changed into were like sieves. Inside the hole in his clothes, his skin was in a mess and blood was flowing out. In particular, bones could be seen in the thin skin of his calf. In an instant, the audience in the arena and live stream understood. They also reacted. Thinking about the situation just now, that was indeed the case. Qi Sheng was indeed a little sinister in this matter. He knew that he could not withstand Zhu Tui's flying sword, so he self-destructed the water puppet and used the method of mutual destruction with Zhu Tui. This method was understandable. Such methods were not rare in the Longhu overall rankings arena. However, even though he knew that he was no match for Zhu Tui, he still asked for help. He wanted Qi Qingshan to focus on him. This was a little sinister. Of course, in terms of rules, Qi Sheng's actions were understandable. They could only understand such sinister intentions. No one could criticize Qi Sheng. However, no one could refute Zhu Tui's curses. The injury isn't deep, it's slightly larger and needs debridement. He'll spray you with the hemostatic gel first. The doctor was very professional. He treated Zhu Tui's injuries immediately. However, Zhu Tui did not stop talking. Qi Sheng's fate was unknown, but Wen Xiao was still standing. He had yet to achieve his goal. "Mr. Wen Xiao, this shouldn't be your instructions, right?" Zhu Tui shouted at Wen Xiao. Wen Xiao was depressed and embarrassed. He could not answer this question. Whether he denied it or admitted it, Wen Xiao would lose the moral high ground if he continued this topic. Wen Xiao remained silent. "You don't dare to answer, do you? Come, Mr. Wen Xiao, who else do you want to send onto the stage? I, Zhu Tui, will receive all of you here." Zhu Tui thumped his chest loudly. "You are not suitable for combat for the time being. You need to debride the wound," said the doctor who was treating Zhu Tui's injuries. "It's just a debridement. It doesn't matter if we do it later. The bleeding has already stopped anyway. It doesn't hurt much." Zhu Tui had a nonchalant expression.